Hello and welcome to Americans Talk Australian Survivor. I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks for joining us. We just watched episode 20 of Australian Survivor Brains vs. Brawn 2, and there will be spoilers ahead. We open up on day 40 where there are only 7 players left. Wow. This season just flew by.
Right. That's a long time to be out there without a bed.
Oh.
And Miles feels that he is on a high. He is feeling great with the postgraduates and sees himself going to the final 3 with AJ and Kaylin.
Yes, and he's doing his pole dancing there.
Yeah, it's good to see him keeping his hobbies up while he's out and on the beach.
Right.
We see Kaylin and Miles saying that they want Kristen out because she's playing too hard, which is very interesting. That I feel like we haven't heard a whole lot about Kristen playing really hard. We know that she tried to flip the vote to Zara when Karin went home. It didn't work out. She tried to do something last night. It didn't work out. I haven't seen her make a bunch of big moves, but I guess just the fact that she's trying makes her a threat to them.
Yeah,
well, she is trying, right? Morgan hasn't done anything.
That's true.
Kate tries a little bit, but
Kristen's good in the challenges, the individual challenges. She seems to be able to hold her own very well.
And I guess she's very likable.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So from a jury perspective, that does make her a threat. Well, they decide to go into Operation Lockdown, where they are not going to share any information with anyone, which kind of feels like how things should happen just naturally.
well,
Right.
They have to do it because they said AJ talks too much.
So it's a good idea because he does. He does like to share the plan.
Right, constantly. He wants to be on both sides, I guess.
It's a good idea, but it's kind of funny that you have to tell your alliance specifically not to tell anyone on day 40.
Yes.
Right.
This is our game plan. Don't talk.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kristen is targeting Zara as an ally. So she's looking at it thinking that, there's 3 boys, 3 girls, and then Zara right in the middle. And is thinking maybe she can have Zara target Kaylin.
Yeah, seems like a logical plan.
Yeah, she said Kaylin's in everyone's top 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a lot to say. He's won a lot of immunity challenges. He is not making any enemies, so he doesn't have anyone against him on the jury. So I can see why he's a target. That one makes sense to me.
And
Right.
I think people generally like him also.
Yeah.
I think he's a nice guy.
He's not playing a mean game, right?
No.
Yeah.
He's not backstabbing anybody or anything.
Well, we think Kaylin is a threat. Zara thinks that she is a threat. She says that she's an endurance threat, and she's worried that the boys are going to target her because she is such a threat, which it is their plan. They said that at the final 4, they're probably going to cut Zara and take just the boys to the end.
Right.
So she's very intuitive with that.
Well,
But you never know what's going to happen, right? You never know who's getting
Right, every day it changes, right? It's fluid.
who's going to win.
Right. Well,
Immunity.
we go to immunity, which I have to say I was kind of sad. I wanted to see a reward. I always like the rewards. But wow, what a crazy immunity challenge.
Yes, you have to hang on this incline. You are gripping a pole, and as you're hanging there, trying to keep yourself on the beam, basically, they're spraying water at you.
Right. Well, note to self, do lots of pull-ups, right? Work on that
Yeah.
upper body strength before
Yeah.
you go.
Really, that was crazy. And that so many people did so well.
Right. So
Yeah.
I noticed right off the bat that there seemed to be 2 different ways of doing it. Like people were doing it with their elbows bent and people were doing it with their arms straight. And to me, straight arms looks a lot more difficult than bent elbows, because at least your bent elbow, you have a little bit of room to slide, right? So Miles had his elbows bent, but I can't remember exactly who it was who had their arms straight out, and it just looked so uncomfortable. They're
AJ
hanging.
did.
Yeah.
And so did Kate. I don't know. AJ for sure did. And AJ was the first to leave
Right,
at
he
10
didn't
minutes. But he was up there for 10 minutes. That's
a long time.
Yeah.
But maybe it was due to his position of his arms, not bending his elbows.
Yeah.
So
just
it didn't
saying,
work
yeah.
out for him.
Right.
And then they
And it
made
didn't work out for
steeper.
Miles either.
No.
He was out fast.
Well, he was there for 20 minutes, they
Right.
said. And then the rain started coming.
Yeah, that seems enough to make you want to quit, right? You're holding onto
Yeah.
that thing in the rain, trying not to slip. Your feet, no traction.
Well, if the rain wasn't enough, then they make their own rain.
Right.
Right.
Spraying them with what they're saying is cold water. That sounds absolutely miserable. You're
Wow.
hanging up there and
As Ara said, this is uncalled for. or that was uncalled for.
I
or
don't think
whatever.
they knew that it was coming, but who knows?
No,
maybe
I don't think-
maybe some of them observed it on their way up. They saw the water lines because there must have been You must have been able to see something.
I don't
Yeah.
think Zara certainly
No,
didn't
I don't
seem
think she
to
knew.
know
I don't
about
think
it.
she knew it was coming. But I know it's like taking a cold shower for 20 minutes, right?
Ugh.
Yeah, it looked miserable. And,
then
we can
Kate-
see all the mud
yeah,
dropping down. Everyone's so dirty.
Right.
And then Kate drops off at 28 minutes.
Very
and then
impressive.
Zara out. And then Morgan is like boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And then the showdown was Kristen and Kaylin.
For some reason,
Which
it always
we've
seems to
seen
happen.
before.
Like 3 or
Right.
4 people drop very quickly, and then it's
Yeah.
down to 2.
They must just figure, I can't do this or something.
Maybe it's the editing. Maybe they just do it
Yeah,
that way
that's
just so
true.
that we can get to the showdown. Right.
Maybe. Well, it's interesting, as always, that the people that are talked about as the target at the beginning of the episode are now going head to head for the immunity win. So this
Right.
is going to mess up someone's plans, however this works out. But I did think it was interesting. Zara just called herself an endurance threat, and then she drops or not immediately. She did pretty well, but
Oh, she did very well.
Kristen is a bigger endurance threat
Yes, I
than
agree.
she is,
I
agree.
as well as Kaylin.
Well,
And even Kate and Morgan, I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't make it a little bit farther because Kate had done pretty well in endurance in the past. And Morgan, being an Olympian, I guess I was expecting her to come out on top of a few more of these individual challenges. And she really hasn't been bringing it as much as I would have expected from an Olympian.
well,
Right.
she's a track woman, so her legs are very, very strong, but maybe her arms aren't. I mean, they all look very, very fit. And they did do a Rachel, they were there for a very long time.
Not long enough for Rachel.
Yeah, I think it's just incredible that anybody was up there. For
would've-
10
Caleb
minutes,
looked like
it
he
was
could
the
go all
first-
day.
You,
Yeah,
you
but-
would have fallen off after 5 or 10 seconds, right?
Yeah, I'd never go on Survivor. I couldn't do this. But I thought it was funny. So then AJ's asking Jonathan, what's the record for all the necklaces?
Right.
And I don't know who. Someone said, well, Miles knows. And sure enough, he said Brooke from the 5th season. So
Brooke from
he-
All Stars won
All-Stars,
5
sorry.
individual immunities, and Kalen was up for his 5th immunity win.
Right.
So very impressive that Miles just sitting out in Samoa on day 40 can just recall who has the most individual immunity wins. Oh, it was Brooke.
Yeah.
So he came out armed with the knowledge, and it has been helping him in this game.
Sure
He's been
has.
putting it to work. So it's always funny to see, the fans as players.
Right.
Instances like that.
Yes. But he also
So-
knows a lot about games too, and
Correct.
the chances, and the game of chance and
very
statistics. So he's very good.
Yeah, it's a good pick from casting this season.
Yes.
And then Kalen does it. He ties Brooke with 5 individual immunity wins.
Wow.
So he beats Kristen, and he will be safe at tonight's immunities. So that's very impressive to get 5 individual necklaces.
Well, I give Kristen a lot of credit too because she
Yes.
really hung out there. She did an excellent job.
Yeah, and she's probably the oldest player out there right now, and so very
Oh,
impressive that
yeah.
she's giving everyone else a run for their money.
Right.
Yes.
Good for her.
So it's too bad though that she didn't win because her target was Kaylin.
Yes.
So we get back to camp, and this part is kind of funny. We see Kaylin and Kristen talking strategy, and Kaylin says, "Oh, I can't tell you anything. We're on lockdown."
Right. right.
Which, again, it seems like it should be obvious that you don't tell anyone, but you don't tell them that you're not going to tell
Right.
them anything.
Yes.
I feel like we're going back to the basics of day one.
What I
So
didn't
I'm-
understand was the graduates were all sitting there talking, and they said, if anyone has an individual idol. And Miles like, no one does. No, I don't think anyone does. Well, hello, Miles. You saw Kristen get the idol, right? She didn't play that. Remember when she
No,
stuffed
he
it in
stole it
her...
from
He
her.
stole it from her. That was one of the idol moves.
I
Yeah, so-
completely forgot
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
Okay.
So she never played it.
Scratch what I said.
Miles played it for her.
All right,
So
got it.
That
Right.
was that when
then-
PD went home.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it would have saved PD, but instead it
Yeah.
voted him out. That was mean. Yeah.
That was a good move.
It was a good survivor move.
It
Yes,
was.
It was.
I'm
All right.
sure
Speaking
he'll,
of
if he gets to the end, he'll bring that up.
Yeah. Well, speaking of idols, Kristen hears from one of the tribe mates that they are not going to tell her anything because they are not working with her. So why is she not out there searching for idols?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
all
like we say
3
this all the
women.
time.
Yeah.
They're just hanging out of the fire, working on the fire.
Everyone
Go
was
look for an
working on the
idol.
file.
They told you that they're voting for you. Go find one.
But even if you find one and someone sees you find it, that still doesn't mean you just play it for yourself, right? you're in
Yeah.
for another day. Wear it around your neck all day. I'm playing this today. I don't,
Better than nothing.
right. And then it may be for nothing. You may play it for nothing, but you stayed.
Yeah. So the original Brawn women are not thinking about looking for an idol, but AJ has a contingency plan in case one of them does have an idol. He's the only one thinking about it. So he says, let's just do a 3-3-1 split. Just in case there's an idol. That way we just have something to go off of. And Miles says, nope, absolutely not. And Kaylin is like, yeah, let's do the split. And it's very interesting that Miles is so dead set on not doing any sort of split. I don't see the harm.
He doesn't even seem to want to listen to the logic behind it or anything. It's
No,
just,
he was
it's
kind of
just like
rude, I thought, to AJ and Kaylin. But Zara agreed with them. Zara said, keep it simple.
I think Miles and Zara have a little bit of concern that AJ is playing both sides still because we know that he has a close relationship with Kate. But it,
Oh, and
I
that
don't know
could have
that
just
this
been
was-
his hidden trick to get one of them out, right? To vote Miles out at
Yeah.
this point or something.
but I don't know. It was very interesting that they were just so dead set on no one has an idol. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Because if they did, it would have really messed up their game.
Oh, wow, it would have. Yeah.
It'd be 3-3 then, right? If they had an
Yeah.
idol and they played it properly.
Yeah, it could be pretty bad.
Which
Well,
is why
no, it'd be-
Miles
it'd-
is saying, don't say anything to anybody. We don't want them to know. You know, here's
Yeah.
the simple plan.
Yeah.
Zip it.
Yeah.
Don't say anything.
But
So-
they would still have a 1/3 chance.
So Kristen
If they
goes
had an
over
idol.
to
Right.
talk to Zara, and she says, we're going to try to get AJ out. And it would have been Kaylin, but since Kaylin won the immunity challenge, it's AJ. And Zara's not exactly thrilled with that because she explains on camera that she's been aligned with AJ since day one, she said.
Yeah, I
But-
guess it's hard to tell with all this fluid, alliances. It's hard to remember that Zara and AJ have been together since day one, but I guess they have.
Right. It seems so long ago, and so many switches back and forth, and almost getting voted out.
The next part I really like. Kate says she wants to talk to AJ, and then you see AJ talking to Kate and Morgan, and they want to know a name. They want to know a name, and he's like trying to say stuff, but he isn't. And then Morgan gets upset. She's going to go eat, and then AJ says, "Well," into this camera, he has a soft spot for Kate. Beautiful eyes and smile, and Kate knows that, and she was hoping to use her beauty to get him to speak, but he wouldn't give him a name, but he was trying. I mean, he almost
basically
said,
gave them a
yeah,
name.
Kristen.
Right.
He said, "I don't like Kristen," or whatever he said. He basically said
Right.
the name. He
Yeah,
just didn't
and you
outright
two are-
say it.
Right,
I've
right.
told you everything or something like that, he
Right.
said, right? But I
Yeah.
didn't tell you.
But anyway, it was just, I thought for sure he's going to go blow everything up.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that conversation made me a little bit upset to watch because Morgan said, well, if you already have a name, then what's the point of talking to you? I'm just going to go focus on eating. I'm thinking, why are you focusing on eating? If you know that they're voting for you, go look for an idol.
Yeah,
Try
yeah.
to change his mind. I'm very upset today about the lack of idol looks. And then I guess there was a little bit, it looked like Kate was searching for an idol a little bit towards the end, but it felt like Morgan was just giving up. She was just like, well, then I'm going to go eat.
Right.
Oh, she was just too frustrated about the situation, I bet.
I know, but
Yeah.
she still has an option.
She's not even throwing out pitches. She's just
No.
like,
Yeah, no, she isn't.
well,
giving
if you're not
anything.
going to work
Right.
with me, then I'm not going to work with you.
Right.
Right.
And that brings us into Tribal, where that conversation is continued.
Now, I think Kate did a great job at Tribal.
Yeah, she was really pitching for Zara to come over and make a big move. She kept saying, you don't want to play a boring game. This is a boring vote. You have our votes.
And you'll be chucked away later.
Right. And you'll be
Yeah.
at the top of our alliance if you help us vote somebody out.
But Miles was bringing up good points, too. He was saying, it's a sideways move. There's no net gain either
Right.
way, so you may as well stick to them, which, fair enough. I'm thinking if I'm Zara, what's the advantage of going with the Brawn girls
Right.
versus the Brains men? You know,
Right.
it's the
Yeah,
same
she-
thing.
Yeah, she'll
Yeah.
probably be voted out at either one.
You're one of four. And
Yeah, and is it really that big of a move? I don't know. To swap at this point.
But like I said, I give Kate a lot of credit. She really, really tried. And then Miles right back at her. It was fun to see Kate and Miles going back and forth with each other. But
Well, I think that we can all agree that AJ and Miles are playing the game and they're playing it hard and they're going to be hard to get out. Zara could have gotten one of them out and had something on her resume, as they say, right? Saying, I got AJ out, I got Miles out. She could have done that.
Possibly, yeah.
Right. So
yeah, I guess
she stayed with the boys today, and
well, they did save
didn't really
her.
make that. Yeah, they did.
They did save
they
her.
did. I know. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
in the long run, if you want to say, hey, look what I did in the game.
You're right. You're right. Mm-hmm.
So far,
Yeah.
she's kind of not making a big move. So
Yeah.
that would be the advantage. Rachel said, what would be the advantage of switching? That's what I think
I
the
see.
advantage
Yeah,
would
you're
have
correct.
been.
You're
Not
correct.
sure that's going to get you all the way to the end, and I'm not sure that's going to win you the game, but you have something.
No, I don't. So that's a problem. That would be a move, but she'd be gone the next.
Right, yeah.
Next, because the 3 women aren't going to keep her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if Zara could make it to the final 3 with Kate and Morgan, I think Zara could win.
Yes.
But-
Could win. She would win, in my opinion.
and
Zara's been
I
playing
don't
since
think-
day one.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
a
no,
hard
I think she's
player.
playing a really good game. I think she could beat Kate, Morgan, or Kristen. But I don't think, if she would have flipped with them here, she wouldn't have made it to the final 3.
No.
They wouldn't have taken her.
No.
Whereas, I guess on the flip side, though, could she beat AJ or Miles? I don't know. But she has a better chance of getting to the end
I'm
than
going
I
to
don't
think
know.
that AJ and Miles, if they can, they're going to get Kalen out because he's won so many things that nobody wants to go up against him, right? You don't want to be one of the final 2 or final 3 with him.
Well, that's what they said in the previews.
So you need to get rid of him. You need to get rid of Kalen. So
I don't
Zara
know.
does have a chance to be there with Miles and AJ.
Yeah, who knows?
I will say, though, I feel like Kaylin has been pretty much just a pawn in AJ and Miles' game. So it may actually benefit them to go up with him because they can say, every move that you did, I told you to do.
Yeah,
You
that's
won your
true.
idols, but that was it. You did
Yeah,
it.
that's true. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibilities here with the final 3s on who would win. So a very exciting point in the game that
It
really
is.
anything could happen.
Well, I thought it was fun. Then Kate wants to talk to Zara, and she says we're voting Miles. They're switching it. Instead of AJ, go for Miles. And Zara said, well, I like that better than AJ, right? So then
Yeah.
you're thinking, well, no, is she going to switch? I
Right.
don't know. And then when AJ's voting, he turns around and says, I didn't hear I wasn't part of the whispering, so I'm telling you, I'm writing down what I said this afternoon. That was funny.
Yeah. Well, what was interesting is the reason it felt like why they switched the vote from AJ to Miles was because Miles and Morgan kind of got into it and Morgan got mad.
Yeah.
So let's get Miles
Right.
out. But I feel like I have to side with Miles on this one. He was saying, Morgan and I didn't pitch to each other. And she was kind of getting upset saying, well, you didn't pitch to me. And he's saying, well, I already had a plan. I didn't want to. I didn't want to work with
I
you
don't-
this time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. You don't have to work with everyone every
Right.
time.
Your vote's not needed for the way I envision it going.
Yeah, he was a little bit harsh, but then
I think that's
Morgan
just the way
seemed-
he is. Yeah.
yeah, Morgan seemed offended that he wasn't pitching to her, but then she didn't offer any ideas. And I think this is my critique of Morgan in this episode is that I feel like she wants everyone to come to her with a plan, but she's not offering any, at least that we're seeing on camera. And I would like to see that more from her in the game.
Yeah,
But
I
anyway,
don't think she's playing a great game. Like, I'm not positive she's a Survivor fan.
No, I have to. AJ, Miles, and Zara, I think, are the top 3 people playing the game.
Right.
yeah.
You have to put Kalen in there because he is a challenge beast, and that does count for things. And then Kate would be the next one because she's trying. And Morgan, I don't see Morgan trying at all.
No.
I mean, she really does not seem to be doing anything.
Yeah, I wonder if is it editing that we're just not seeing it because
I
it
don't
seems
know.
so odd that she's, this strong person out here ready to compete. She's an Olympian. She should have this fighting energy. And so why isn't she pitching anything? Is she just getting overshadowed by Kate on the cameras? Are they just painting it that way? Or is she really just not coming up with any big moves?
I don't
like to-
know.
40 days without any protein.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she's tired. I don't know.
We haven't seen anyone catch a fish, it seems like, in weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember a lot of people would see their fish and everything? No, we haven't seen
Oh, yeah,
anything.
Kaylin should be doing that. He seems to
Right.
fit the mold of who would go fishing.
Once
Maybe
in a
they're
while-
not showing it
yeah.
because they did, remember,
I know, but-
a lot of tools to get fish
Right.
there.
But once in a while, you see someone scooping some rice into their mouth,
Yeah.
and they, drinking a
Oh,
coconut.
and
or
Zara's
something.
always eating something very hard and looks horrible. Is that the out?
The coconut, I think.
But the
Coconut?
shell with the brown side?
I think you just bite off the inside of the
Oh,
coconut.
God, it
and
just looks horrible. But she's always eating it, so good for you, Zara.
Well, going into the vote, speaking of Zara, I was convinced going into the vote that Zara had flipped
Me
to
too.
work with the Brawn.
Yes, I thought this is the time to play the idol.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm watching her and they said, "Hey, Zara, can we speak with you?" And if she didn't want to vote with them, she would have just said, "No, that's okay." But she got up and she listened to their pitch. And so, was that because she was genuinely curious? Was she actually considering it? Was she managing them in case they did have an idol? I don't know. But I was fully convinced.
I thought so too, and I'm thinking, all right, when Jonathan said, if you have an idol, now's the time to play it or whatever, and Miles didn't play it. I'm like,
I know.
oh my God, Miles, you're going to go home with an idol in your pocket. Oh my gosh, how can you do this? Big fan? But he knew. How
did
did
it.
he know? He knew that Zara was going to stick with them, I guess.
Right.
He also didn't know that the votes were coming on him,
No.
since that was so last minute. But yeah, I mean, how crazy would that have been to have these 3 huge idol plays and then the 4th one you go home with it in your
Yeah.
pocket? That would be terrible.
Oh
Okay,
my
so you're
gosh.
Zara, right? And then they say we're going to vote on Miles, and then you go back to your seats. Do you turn to Miles and say they're voting for you?
Well, she didn't.
She didn't. No, but would you guys do that? What do you think? Do you think because you're not voting for Miles, right? You listen to their plea.
I don't know. I'm kind of a chatterbox like AJ, so I think I might say something to Miles, but
or
maybe
or
not. I
wait
don't
till
know.
the vote is over and then just lean over to Miles and go,
Yeah.
just like point to him and say, now's the time.
Well, I guess Zara knows exactly where every vote is going in this vote, right? She knows
Right, she does.
Yeah.
that there's only the 3 women voting for Miles, and she would be the 4th. So if she decides to vote for him, of course she's not going to say, "Hey, play your idol," because that blows up her move. But if she's not going to
That's
vote
true.
for him,
Then
why
she knows
warn
there's
him?
no need to even tell him.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see what you're
Yep,
saying.
you're right.
Okay.
Yep. So
Why
she was
spook him?
she was the kingpin.
Yeah, so
She
there's
held
no
it all
need
together.
to
Yeah.
say it at that point. But she should go back and say, "Hey, they did tell me about that,
I saved you, Miles.
Yeah. But anyway, Zara stuck with the original brains. She stuck with the postgraduates, sending Kristen to the jury. So Kristen did give a good pitch for Kaylin initially, and then for AJ and Miles later on. So she was playing the game. We'll give her credit for that. She was definitely a huge threat to Kaylin in the
Sure.
challenges. She
Very much
really
so.
went toe to toe with him. So congratulations,
Right.
Kristen, on a good game.
And then in her confessional, she said she was shocked.
Yeah, she really. I mean, I was shocked too. I thought Zara was voting with her.
I know, but it had to be one of the 3, and
Yeah.
she's the strongest.
Well, something interesting was that Zara said in her little confessional when she read out her vote, said that it was because of that spa reward, is because she was voting for Kristen, which is so interesting that it's all coming back to that.
Right. Who you take.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why it's so important. That's why it's maybe not the best to win the rewards. Just pray you get invited to one. But
Yeah.
it was funny too because Zara was saying, this is the best thing that ever happened to me because now I have these not going on the reward. I'm with the males and
exactly,
I can forge an alliance. So I don't know. It was kind of
Yeah,
weird
she
that she said
benefited
that.
it.
Right. Who knows?
Well,
Anyway.
either way, Kristen joins the jury, and we are down to the final 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so how many more episodes?
Yeah, no episode tomorrow, so there should be 2 next week.
Is that it?
And then is that it? Is that going to be the finale? We'll have to look into it. If you know, let us know.
Yeah.
I feel like we
Gotta do
should know.
some math here.
Yeah.
But what an episode. Another good one. Kept us guessing.
Sure.
Let us know who you thought was going to go
I-
home.
I thought of something else. So Miles has that idol, and he can only play it in the next 1 or 2 tribals, right? But he wants
Until
everybody.
final 5, yeah.
Yeah, so he wants everybody to know that he has it. What if he doesn't? What if he has to play it? If it won't be to his advantage to play it,
Then he won't play it.
Do you think he holds on to it?
Yes, I don't think he's going to play it. He's not.
Okay, I'm
He'll
just
keep
curious
the
what you
idol
guys
for a
think.
souvenir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll wear it around his neck and tell everyone he's taking it home.
Right. Who would do
Just to
that?
prove that he had it and he didn't need it.
Nobody's ever done that, have they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they have. I think they have.
But I wonder if he will need it because Miles is always trying to maneuver the game and make big moves. And he says all the time that, he wants kind of like that excitement, the big
Rocks.
moves. So, yeah. So I wonder if, he sees his path forward now, but maybe it's too boring for him and maybe he will need his idol to shake things up.
To get rid of AJ.
Oh.
Maybe. Yeah,
Just saying,
I don't know.
They're pretty equal,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah, this would be the time.
And sooner or later you have to do that, or you might lose.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, just amazing. Out of all the people when we started,
Yes.
that these two are still, working
Right.
together so well and still right there. So I have to go look back at how all the players again.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Matt Miles was your winner
He
pick from
was.
day one,
He
and he's
was.
looking pretty promising.
I know. So that's great. So that would be fantastic. I would be thrilled if he won, or at least got to the final three. It would be great. And he seemed like a good player. He knows about games, and I think that's really paid off for him. Right?
Oh,
And
yes.
it's great to see a fan do so well because you can just tell that he's just having a blast.
Right.
And that's fun.
Right. Remember, some players are big fans. They don't do so well because everyone says they try too hard. And, well, in the beginning, now that I think about it, people are saying that about Miles.
They were ready to vote him off because he
right.
wouldn't stop talking.
And someone told him to,
Chill.
some female, maybe it was Zara, said, you're coming on too strong. Relax. Push. Don't.
But remember when they switched
he
tribes and he
listened.
was just walking around talking to everybody?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And he still does. He's still talking
yeah.
40 days later.
Yeah. So
There's
very
more to
funny.
say. Well, let us know what you thought about this this tribal. Did you think Zara was going to flip? And who do you think is going to make it to the end? There's so many combinations, it's hard to tell. But who would be in your ideal final three? Let us know on Instagram at ATA Survivor, TikTok at ATA Survivor, or send us an email at ataustraliansurvivor@gmail.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.